And it has to be with cash. I don't like debt. I like Dave Ramsey. I don't like debt because it's like then you owe stuff. Now obviously there's property taxes and stuff, but actual land, actual owning, not because here's what happens, right? The reason why mortgages are so bad, and the reason the housing market is so bad, is because of mortgages. If they got rid of mortgages, housing would crash. Housing would crash immediately. 150 acres? Yeah, I'm not getting 150 acres, dude. I'm just joking. Like 10 acres, something like that, 5 acres. I don't even need the acreage. I just want a house because I can get a house, live in it for 5 years, then sell the house after saving up, and then combine that and get a house with land. Um, so I don't really worry about that. The reason, the reason everything sucks so bad is that number one, you have foreign, you have Chinese people, you have Jewish people. Dual citizens should not be allowed to own property in America. Sorry. Maybe they should be able to own one house. If you're an adult, one family, so a man or a woman, right? So the husband or the father can own one property if you're a dual citizen. Otherwise, you can't own anything. You can't because it's just stupid. They can't own multiple properties. They can't rent stuff out. That's not appropriate because they are not really citizens. But if I think you should get rid of all dual citizenship. But so you get rid of the Chinese, you get rid of the Indian, the Jewish, foreign investment, Russian, whatever. Anybody who's not an American, you can't own property. Sorry. All right, number one, you can't own property if you're not American. But you get rid of that, you still have expensive housing. Um, the reason debt is bad is that it lets you buy and enslave your future for something now that you would have to wait to earn. It causes prices to rise because it's more affordable, right? If people can only afford $50,000 houses, right? Because that's how much they make in a year, and or maybe 150,000, right? They can only afford $150,000 house with cash because they're going to save it for 4 years and then buy a house. Then houses are naturally only going to be, around this range, give or take a little bit. But if people with debt, because they've taken out a huge mortgage, can afford $500,000 houses because now they're on a mortgage, now everything's going to be $500,000 or more, and that's going to be the baseline. And then it's going to keep going up because the mortgage is going to keep going up, and it's just stupid, dude. You know, money doesn't mean anything. It's stupid. It's bad because then you can never really own anything. Now the banks own everything. The banks own everything, and they really do. BlackRock owns everything, that sort of thing. You can't really. I want to own something. I don't. I don't. I know it's not like a smart person thing to not use debt. I must have a religious a maybe a Muslim. I have a religious aversion to debt. Like I own my cars, so if my car breaks, I can repair it or I can trash it and get a new car, a used car. I get a new car, but I wouldn't get a new car. I can get a used car, and I own it because I don't worry about, oh, do I lose my job? Because once you have, this is the reason people got vaccinated, because they signed up, they're living in a house, they have credit card payments, they have mortgage payments. The mortgage payments are based on this nice job they have. And now, if they lose their job because they don't get vaccinated, they're going to lose their house. They're going to have to uproot their entire family because they don't actually own their house. They own like the title to their house. They're buying the house over years, right? I don't know the exact terminology because I'm not a mortgage person. But if people own their house, they could be like, oh well, guess what? Yeah, it sucks, but I own my house. I can go work at McDonald's. I can go work at a gas station. I'll still be able to feed my family, but I'm not going to get a vaccine. I'm not going to force my kids to get vaccinated because yes, I own my house. I don't have to make a $3,000 mortgage payment. Maybe I have to pay $150 for in taxes or whatever. I don't. I can actually afford to stand up for myself because I don't have this huge amount of debt hanging over me that's now collateral. I don't have a car payment. I don't have a house payment. And as a result, I can actually be a man. I can actually say, well, I'm not a slave to $4,000 in expenses every month that I won't be able to pay if I lose my job. You know, and so it's like it ruins everything. A mortgage ruins everything. It not only does it inflate the value, it also locks you in to being a slave to society. Because if you have a mortgage and you are just making it, right? You're being smart. You have a really big mortgage, so that way when you own it, you can flip it for a lot of money. But in the process of doing that, now you have a big mortgage, and now George Floyd happens, and if you don't post the Black Lives Matter, you get fired, right? You don't post the black square, you get fired. Now you're gonna post it because you have to, because if you get fired, you're gonna lose the house, and your family's gonna be uprooted. Your kids won't be able to go to school, and your kids will lose their friends in the neighborhood, and your wife will hate you and leave you, and all that stuff. It's just not workable. Debt sucks. Debt sucks. All right, it's just retarded. It makes sense, and it's kind of a necessary evil because it speeds things up. So it sucks. It is a necessary evil, but I don't like to participate in it, and I would much rather get all my ducks in a row and have a house and have a place I live, land wise, that I can, if I had to, go work a minimum wage job and still live on. I'd much rather have a house that I can live and own, and just say I am all of a sudden forced to dig ditches, but I can still live in the house, and my kids and my wife can still be in this house. I'd much rather do that and be slower in terms of having a family than, oh well, I'll just get a mortgage. I can afford a mortgage, and then be like a slave because now my money is has to come in. If it doesn't come in, all the stuff that I have, all the friends I have, a good percentage of that is based on the fact that I have nice stuff. You know, it's just stupid. What was housing like in 30s Germany? Probably bad, dude. Were they carrying around like wheelbarrows full of cash? But yeah, no, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of it. It makes sense. It works if it works, but long term, it screws over everybody. It screws over all of society because everyone's a slave. Because I'm not a slave, right? I didn't get vaccinated, right? My parents didn't get vaccinated, right? They were wise about their money. Um, but they're still living in a society. I'm still living in a society. You're still living in a society where the vast majority of people are slaves. And if their slave chains get yanked and they see that you're not getting yanked, they're going to hate you. They're going to hate you because they see that their chains are getting yanked. They're like, why doesn't he have a chain? I thought I'm better than this person. I have a nicer thing than this person. I have a nicer house than this person. And they're going to disdain you despite, and then they should actually look up to you. They're going to disdain you because you are actually wise enough to stay free.
Anti-Semitism and
You still have to pay rent though. That's the flaw. Well, yeah, right now that's the thing. The thing is, I could afford a mortgage right now easily. Right, I could afford a mortgage, um, which would be the equivalent of paying rent. But I'm not going to choose to pay rent for 30 years. I'd much rather pay rent as long as I have to, as this like slavish behavior, because I'm forced to be a slave right now. But once I can buy my freedom and buy a house, then obviously you have other requirements. It's not like you're free because you have to take care of the property and stuff. But then I'm not gonna choose other slavery, right? It's not like I'm gonna do a lateral slave move for better slave quarters. I'd much rather save up my money to not be a slave.
it's basically its most prominent current iteration, which is anti-Zionism.